Welcome to the Space Turtle Show, the greatest show in the galaxy. I'm your host, Joshua Toe, and today we're joined with,
Joey Garvey.
Mason Toy.
we got Mason Toy today as a special guest.
Yay!
They thought I wouldn't come, but I did, in fact.
Okay, well, today we're talking about the new release, Joker, um,
Ooh.
written and directed by Todd Phillips, that just came out today for the general public, and we just got relatively normal seats.
Yeah.
And we didn't get shot up. So, would have been worth it either way, but that's an added bonus. So, it was a good experience overall. What about you guys? What are just some general feelings or general thoughts? Anything?
As someone who doesn't know a lot about movies, I would say I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I was also frightened at the same time.
It was a scary movie. It made me want to pee my pants and turn 12 and hide.
It's spoopy season.
It
It's a
it is
spoopy season
October,
movie.
so
That's why it
If
came out this month.
Yeah, it actually fits in quite nicely. I didn't actually think it was that scary, but more foreshadowing and realistic. So in that kind of sense, kind of like what's that movie with the blind guy? I forget. Like that kind of scary and not more like lights out kind of scary,
Oh,
you know?
Blind
oh,
Boy.
Don't Breathe. That's the one.
Yeah, kind of like that type of intense feeling and not exactly scary or nervous or anything like that. I found myself smiling like the whole time. It was kind of bad, honestly.
Kind of is kind of an understatement.
That's scary too, Josh.
We've determined the sociopath in our group, not gonna lie.
Maybe psychopath.
It's okay. There can be multiple.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I rewatched Chris Stuckman's review after watching the film, and honestly, I agree with every single point he makes. I want to put that out there before
Before
making
we
our own
talk about it.
comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave the Taxi Driver and King of Comedy comparisons to you, but I think to me it felt the most like The Shining actually, and the way that it was choreographed in it and its cinematography was laid out and the kind of way the music kept pulsating. It struck me to be like Shining because it kind of marked like our protagonist's, descent into madness, which I thought was cool to see. It was like one of the first times I'd seen that in a while, I think.
hmm Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you left the Taxi Driver and King of Comedy comparisons to me. You're the one that's watched Taxi Driver like literally yesterday.
Well, I mean, you were saying you agreed with everything Chris Stuckman said, so I mean that those were like his big points, I think.
Yeah, that was like his big criticism was the it wasn't even a comparison to Taxi Driver. It was just more, as far as I understand, um, multiple nods in types of shots and just like physical aspects, but it wasn't like in a story aspect. I didn't feel it mirroring Taxi Driver that much, other than like how society affects an outcast.
Mhm.
Um, and so, like, it wasn't really a bother for me, but I also hadn't watched Taxi Driver in, like, I think a year plus. So, what about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty similar to Taxi Driver, honestly. Um, when I watched Taxi Driver, though, I wasn't as big a fan of it as I think a lot of other people were. I thought it was pretty slow in some instances.
I agree
And
with that.
while I thought that this movie was a bit faster than Taxi Driver, I think I had a bit of those kind of pacing issues, even though like they weren't nearly as big as say something like Taxi Driver, but they clearly meant to display the film in a slow burn.
Yeah, I think Joaquin Phoenix really helped my feeling of the pace of the movie as well. Um, and so, although I felt like it was like when I left the theater, I was like, was this just 2 hours? It felt longer than 2 hours,
Yeah.
but it never dragged particularly for me.
Yeah, it felt almost almost like a 12 to Slave, like one of those movies that's meant to be
Mhm.
super slow. Sorry,
Yeah, I was
Mason,
just
I
gonna say,
I
what about
cut
you,
you off.
Mason? How what did
Wait,
you think about it?
oh. Oh, well, I have not seen Taxi Driver, so and I have no idea what it's about, but I mean, like, it was an experience. Like, I get what you mean, like, where like you're like, wow, it hasn't been 2 hours. It's like I felt the exact same way, but I was like, it was intense the entire time, and like you don't really get a lot of breathing room in the movie, but I liked it about it because like it just like it felt claustrophobic, but like in like that's why I was scared because I was like, wow, this man feels trapped in his life, and like he's trying to get out, and just a bunch of crazy shit happens, and I was like, wow, that is a little relatable. Which is what I was scared of because I was like, wow, I'm relating a lot to this character, but not in like acting on
Wait.
not act
You
okay, no,
you were like
not even thinking like that. I was just
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I totally
I think
understand
that's
that
kind of the
too.
point of the movie is to
mhm,
say, like, this could be anyone.
exactly.
I was actually surprised. I was expecting more subjectivity to the film. Like, what I heard from like other people online and stuff like that was like, you're not really sure what's real and what's not. But did you guys feel that? Because I felt like it was pretty um obvious whenever he was like whenever there were things that he was making up and there's things that were like really going on, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, when he was having those, like, psychosis episodes, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it was pretty clear on what their message was and what his journey was. It didn't seem like there was a lot of, interpretation, really. They didn't leave a lot open for interpretation. It was more like a forum for discussion, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that they presented it. I don't know.
Hmm.
What did you think, Mason?
I like the entire movie. I was never confused. Like everything made sense. I don't know. I didn't feel that way.
Hmm. Yeah, I was almost expecting more of like an art house, like what is going on, what's real, what's not real, like kind of thing. But not that the version that we got was bad in any way. It was just a little bit different than I expected. But what was y'all's favorite part of the film?
Well, for me, I think I'd have to go with the cinematography. I think they did a really good steady cam, and I like the angles that they shot at when they were trying to show his confines. They stayed in close with them, or they would have a wide out to see uh, Joaquin Phoenix's, acting appeal. And he was really great in the movie. I'm
Mhm,
sure he's going to be one of you guys' favorite parts, but I think for me, the cinematography blew me away.
mhm. What about you, Mason?
Um, I like to think that my favorite part was how, like, at the end of the day, this is still like a DC movie, where like it's in like, and like I didn't get that, like I didn't get like any like weird mixing vibes from the movie. Like everything blended together with the universe that they're in, like with Bruce Wayne, like and Thomas Wayne.
Way that most of them
Mhm.
are.
But yeah, no, I like how they blended in with the DC universe.
Mhm. Yeah, it's little nods here and there and stuff like that, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can talk about both the cinematography and the acting. It's just that the acting from Joaquin Phoenix it's so good. Like, we'll have to see if anything contends. I don't watch enough movies that like come out because I wait until people review it and say it's good before I spend money. You know, college life be like. But I'd be surprised if I see something come out in the rest of the year that can contend with this. Do you guys think this is like the best is possible Oscar best actor, or do you think he's got some competition?
Yeah, I think it's a lock for a nomination at least. I know Joaquin Phoenix has been getting awards attention since the Joker played in Venice, I think. So I'm pretty confident that he can get nominated. And so far for me, I think he has the best performance of the year. I know we still have to wait for all the Oscar movies to come out, this being
Hmm. Yeah.
one of the first ones to come out, but I'm certain he's got a shot. He was my favorite performance of the year, I think. So
I'd have to say the same thing. I thoroughly enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix in this movie.
And that's the thing I wanna come out or segue into the cinematography because I really loved the cinematography as well, but I felt like the best thing that they could have done was to highlight, Joaquin Phoenix's acting and the kind of close-up angles type thing that you were talking about earlier. I mean, the color palette and, slow movements here and there and twisting, turning movements, in other places are great, but I loved when it just focused on his face for like an absurd amount of time and I could just watch every little thing that his face did and didn't and it spoke to his performance as well that he could actually keep in character and have these moments of emotion in his face and you know, like Bill, Murray's or I don't remember exactly his name, but his quote is like, "Oh, I'm a film actor, or I'm a TV actor because I only have to be good for 90 seconds." I felt like that was, like, totally thrown out, when Joaquin Phoenix or what Joaquin Phoenix put on screen totally threw that statement out.
yeah, they had the whole film on his shoulders, and he was able to carry.
Alright, so any kind of general issues that you had with the film?
Other than what I mentioned before, nothing much really other than it was a little similar to the King of Comedy in particular, kind of
Mhm,
I could see the resemblance for that a lot.
mhm,
That bothered me a little more than Taxi Driver, but nothing like too big.
mhm,
Just that and, a little bit of pacing problem, but
mhm.
that's it for me. Mm.
Alright, what about you, Mason?
Um, I really see. I can't. I never saw those movies, so I can never relate to it.
It's all
Um,
good, I haven't seen King of Comedy either.
so yeah, in terms of that, I had no problems with it. Like, I
Which is
enjoyed it.
good.
Like, that's
Is any
all I'm gonna
problems
say.
whatsoever?
Nah, I mean, my critique on film is much different. If I enjoy it, I really don't have like that much of problems because normally my kind of nitpicky problems are like the dumb story or something.
It's either really bad or just perfect.
Exactly. There's no in between.
I
There's
got
never
you, I
it's
got
just
you.
binary.
Yeah,
It's
there's
that's my language, all right?
no shame in that. I
Sure.
wanna talk about one thing that I had, it's not exactly an issue, but I felt like it was so unique of a story that I honestly didn't see the Joker in it that as prevalent as I thought it would be. They make the character so sympathetic and having a backstory itself already kind of contrasts the whole like Joker character. But yeah, mostly like the sympathy thing. He felt so real and so human that I think the name the or Joker for this movie totally fits it. Like I'm not saying like, oh, it should be
Uh-huh.
named something else or it shouldn't be that character or anything like that. I'm just saying like I felt like it was such a unique and interesting film, an interesting take that I felt no subject reliance on subject matter or anything like that. It's wholly its own, and that was really interesting and surprising for me. So that's the only
Yeah.
kind of maybe weird thing. It's just like an expectation kind of thing. So it wasn't like shouldn't have used the name of the Joker, but
Mhm.
what I was trying to say is more summarized as like if it didn't use the name of the Joker, it would just be as phenomenal of a movie.
Yeah, it's almost like just its own movie.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Also to add on to that, I really like how they kind of framed him differently because like, the whole thing about like comic jokers like it took one bad day to like make
Mhm.
everything go and like they kept that true but like it was also like
There's a lot of bad
it was
stuff
a
in the
lot of
world.
bad stuff happening to him like
And it's not like he was in a great place to begin
yeah
with.
like it's like you get the origin of Joker, and spoiler, it wasn't super good.
Well, I'm excited to see, like, I know there are no plans for a continuation, but I would kind of be disappointed if there wasn't some more exploration. But honestly, if there was more exploration and the next movie is like garbage, then I'll regret my decision. But
I'll settle for a Dark Knight trilogy-esque kind of deal.
Dude, I want to
Yes.
see Batman kick this guy in the
Me
face.
too.
It would be really fun to see this guy.
Dude, Bruce Wayne growing up.
Bruce Wayne's gonna grow up and he's gonna kick the shit out of him.
All right, well, that's all I had to say. That's non-spoiler. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nothing from me.
I do have one thing. Joey's a nerd, a big nerd energy.
That's true, but at least I'm not a stupid idiot like Mason. Just a big, fat, ugly, stupid idiot.
Oh god.
Really fucking dumb.
Let me close this door right here. I'm gonna turn off the mic.
No, stop it, stop, no, stop it,
Tickle you.
stop.
Okay.
Some professional. He's not getting invited back. Never again.
I wasn't even gonna come back anyways.
Oh, baby.